In December 1991, the capital of Nigeria was officially moved from Lagos to Abuja during the regime of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. The move was for both security and economic reasons.
There are original inhabitants residing in the Federal Capital Territory land. If the government is eventually going to work out to transfer the federal capital from Lagos to Abuja, the original inhabitant people should not be rendered stateless.
And this is perhaps where the complaints of the original inhabitants of the territory began. As of 2016, the population of the FCT natives was put at 2.5 million. They are made up of the Gbagis, Gwari, Gwandara, Bassa, Gadekoro, Hausa, Igbira, Nupe, Ganagana. The FCT locals hinged their demand for representation in the Federal Executive Council on the Nigerian Constitution.
Section 1473 of the Constitution says when the president is to appoint ministers, he must take at least an indigene of each state and appoint into the Executive Council. So there are 36 states. So therefore, at least one person representing the 36 states. Then, when you go to Section 299 of the Constitution, that section says, when you are applying the Constitution in Abuja, you consider Abuja as if it were one of the states of the Federation. Okay, so when you put Section 1473 together with Section 299, in other words, where Federal Executive Council is concerned and its Constitution, Abuja must also be in the equation, all right? So, but this is no longer an issue of speculation or debate. Beyond doubt, I went to court over the issue. And on 15 January 2018, 1 year, 8 months now, the Court of Appeal, Abuja Division, gave a judgment to the effect that we are entitled to ministerial representation in the Executive Council. Abuja FCT indigenes. There's a law that defines Abuja FCT indigenes. All right, and that we're also entitled, like every other state, that in law, Abuja is a state. And based on that, the Court of Appeal now gave what we call a compelling order on the president to immediately appoint an FCT Abuja indigene into the Federal Executive Council forthwith.
With the recent appointment of ministers, it appears the court order has been ignored by President Muhammadu Buhari.
I went to court trying to stop the inauguration because his 43 ministers, they still has not met the minimum requirement of the Constitution. The Constitution requires that the cabinet must be constituted with 37, minimum 37 representatives, one from each state and FCT. So there must be minimum 37 ministers. The problem we now have is that the president has 43 ministers and yet he has not met the constitutional requirement. Number 37 is missing.
Is there any state in Nigeria that has ever lived without minister? The answer is no. Why do we have to ask Nigerian government to give us minister? Whereas the Constitution says that the head of state is our governor. So the original inhabitants should have to go and lobby with the head of state to give us minister. This is the first time a head of state has appointed 43 ministers. All along, the head of state have been always appointing 42 ministers. The reason is that 36 ministers, then he cannot add one Senate ministers from the 6 geopolitical zones, which makes it 42. Our head of state, who know FCT today, has added one to make it 43. And yet he could not pick anybody from the Federal Capital Territory, and we should go and ask him for that. We are begging the head of state, gentleman and aged man and the man who know history, please, head of state, Baba Buhari, relinquish the position as a governor and let FCT have their governor so that we don't have to be asking anybody to give us minister.
We know that the government interest is our land. So they feel giving us a minister to administer all the affairs of the FCT is like handing over our land to us. But what we have said is that no, we have already surrendered our land to an extent to the government, for government to allocate and map out plans and work with the master plan. But we are now saying Allow us to have a fair representation in the Federal Executive Council, just as others.
In 2017, a UN session on the rights of indigenous people stressed that failure to recognize indigenous people denies them their rights enshrined in international human rights law. It noted further that even in countries that recognize the rights of indigenous people, legislative inconsistencies persisted. With the increasing agitation of the FCT natives for representation in President Buhari's government, there are worries this could escalate to demonstrations, as has been seen by the proscribed Islamic movement in Nigeria, IMN, and other groups who are protesting exclusion from a common patrimony or government's refusal to obey court orders.
There's another phrase in the oath of office that says, I will do right to all manner of people according to law, without favor or ill will. He will do right to all manner of people. Mr. President has breached his oath of office to defend and enforce the provision of the Constitution where FCT Abuja is concerned. And he has not done right to FCT Abuja indigents. He has shown either favor or ill will. In this case, he has discriminated against us.
Rootstv, Nigeria.